The Provocation. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Sarah Chen as she stood on the observation deck of HFY Station, humanity's furthest outpost from Earth. The twinkling stars and swirling nebulae painted a deceptively peaceful picture of the cosmos. Little did Sarah know that this tranquility was about to be shattered forever. "Captain, we're picking up an anomalous reading on long-range sensors," reported Lieutenant Raj Patel, his voice crackling through the comm system. Sarah's brow furrowed as she made her way to the command center. The screen displayed a cluster of unknown objects approaching at an alarming speed. "Analysis," she demanded. "They're not matching any known signatures, Captain," Raj replied, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "But their formation and velocity suggest they're ships, a lot of them." Sarah's heart raced. First contact. The moment humanity had been preparing for, hoping for, and dreading in equal measure. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. Initiate first contact protocols. Open all channels for communication. For tense minutes, the crew of HFY Station waited, broadcasting greetings in every language and format they could think of. The alien fleet drew ever closer, their sleek, crystalline ships glinting in the starlight. Suddenly, the main screen flared to life. A being unlike anything Sarah had ever seen appeared. Its body was a shifting mass of tentacles and eyes, with no discernible mouth. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in her mind. "Insignificant creatures," the alien's thoughts boomed. "We are the Zarkoni. Your presence offends us. Prepare for annihilation." Before Sarah could respond, the screen went dark. Alarms blared throughout the station as the first volley of energy weapons struck their shields. "Battle stations," Sarah shouted, her training kicking in despite the shock. "Get me Earth Command, now." As the crew scrambled to defend the station, Sarah knew that humanity's place in the universe had just changed forever. The Zarkoni had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the human spirit. Over the next hours, HFY Station fought valiantly against overwhelming odds. Sarah watched in horror as sections of the station were torn apart, her crew giving their lives to buy time for Earth to prepare. "Captain," Raj called out, his voice strained, "the last escape pod is ready. You need to go." Sarah shook her head, gripping the command console. "Not without you, Lieutenant. That's an order." Together, they raced through the crumbling corridors of the station, dodging falling debris and electrical fires. They reached the escape pod just as another blast rocked the station. As the pod jettisoned into space, Sarah watched HFY Station, humanity's proudest achievement in space exploration, break apart under the Zarkoni assault. Tears streamed down her face, not just for the lives lost, but for the innocence humanity had just lost as well. The small pod streaked towards Earth, carrying with it a warning and a call to arms. Sarah knew that the real battle was just beginning. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight, and the Zarkoni would learn what it truly meant to provoke the human race. Back on Earth, the news of the attack spread like wildfire. Governments that had been at odds for decades now found a common enemy. The United Earth Defense Council was formed within days, pooling resources and setting aside old grudges in the face of this existential threat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, pored over the scant data they had gathered from the HFY Station encounter. "Their biology is unlike anything we've ever seen," she explained to the grim-faced military leaders. "But every species has weaknesses. We just need to find theirs." Meanwhile, in laboratories and shipyards across the globe, humans worked tirelessly. Engineers adapted existing technologies for space warfare, while scientists pushed the boundaries of physics to develop new weapons and defenses. Captain Chen, having recovered from her ordeal, found herself at the center of Earth's preparations. Her first-hand experience with the Zarkoni made her an invaluable asset. "They think we're insignificant," she told the United Earth Defense Council. "That's their first mistake. We need to use that arrogance against them." As weeks turned into months, Earth transformed. The entire planet became a war machine, united in a way it had never been before. Old satellites were weaponized, and new battle stations were hurriedly constructed in orbit. The largest fleet in human history began to take shape, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. But it wasn't just military might that humans were counting on. Diplomats reached out to other alien races, ones that had been watching Earth from afar. Many were hesitant to get involved, fearful of the Zarkoni. But a few saw potential in these upstart humans and offered covert assistance. 1 year after the destruction of Helios Station, Earth was as ready as it could be. Long-range sensors detected the approach of the Zarkoni fleet, larger and more terrifying than anyone had imagined. As the alien armada entered the solar system, a tense silence fell over Earth. In command centers and living rooms alike, humans held their breath. The moment of truth had arrived. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, Earth's most advanced warship. As she looked out at the assembled human fleet, a fierce pride swelled in her chest. Whatever happened next, humanity would not go down without a fight. All ships, battle formation, she commanded, her voice steady. The Zarkoni thought they could wipe us out without consequence. It's time to show them exactly what happens when you mess with humans. As the two fleets hurtled towards each other, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. But in this darkest hour, the indomitable human spirit shone brighter than ever before. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The response. The vast emptiness of space erupted into chaos as the human and Zarkoni fleets clashed in Earth's orbit. Captain Sarah Chen gripped the arms of her command chair as the USS Defiant shuddered under enemy fire. Evasive maneuvers, she barked. Return fire with quantum torpedoes. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their hands flying over holographic interfaces. Outside, streaks of energy crisscrossed the void, a deadly light show that would determine the fate of humanity. Captain, Lieutenant Maria Kovacs called out, her voice tense. The Zarkoni ships are adapting. Our weapons are becoming less effective with each volley. Sarah's mind raced. This was the Zarkoni's true strength, their ability to evolve mid-battle. But humans had an ace up their sleeve. Initiate Project Chimera, Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Deep within the Defiant, a team of scientists led by Dr. Elena Rodriguez sprang into action. Project Chimera was humanity's trump card, a revolutionary system that could rewrite weapons signatures on the fly, making them harder for the Zarkoni to adapt to. As the battle raged on, the tide began to turn. Human ships, previously outmatched, now held their ground. The Zarkoni, for the first time, found themselves unable to predict and counter their opponents' attacks. But the alien invaders were far from defeated. Their massive mothership, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest human vessels, pushed through Earth's defenses, heading straight for the planet. All ships, focus fire on that mothership, Sarah commanded, her voice echoing across the fleet's communication channels. We can't let it reach Earth. The human fleet converged on the Zarkoni mothership, unleashing everything they had. But the alien vessel's shields held firm, shrugging off the assault like raindrops. In a command bunker deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, General Zhang Wei of the United Earth Defense Council watched the battle unfold with growing concern. We need a new strategy, he muttered, turning to his advisors. What options do we have? A young lieutenant stepped forward, her eyes bright with an idea. Sir, what about the Excalibur Protocol? The room fell silent. The Excalibur Protocol was a last resort plan, one that could turn the tide of the battle, but at a terrible cost. General Zhang's face was grim as he nodded. Send the order. May God have mercy on us all. Back in space, Sarah received the transmission. Her heart sank as she read the orders, knowing what they meant. Prepare for Excalibur Protocol, she announced to her crew, her voice heavy. As one, the human fleet began to fall back, creating a perimeter around Earth. The Zarkoni, sensing victory, pressed their advantage. Suddenly, the sky lit up with a blinding flash. From Earth's surface, massive energy beams shot into space, the planet's entire power grid channeled into one desperate attack. The Excalibur protocol worked better than anyone could have hoped. The energy beams tore through the Zarkoni fleet, vaporizing smaller ships and crippling larger ones. Even the mighty mothership's shields buckled under the onslaught. But the victory came at a price. Across Earth, cities went dark as the power grid overloaded. Millions were plunged into darkness, critical systems failed, and chaos reigned. As the dust settled, Sarah surveyed the battlefield. The Zarkoni fleet was in disarray, but far from defeated. And now, with Earth vulnerable, the real fight was just beginning. All ships, defensive positions around the planet. Sarah ordered, prepare for ground assault. On Earth's surface, soldiers and civilians alike prepared for invasion. In the darkness of powerless cities, people huddled together, their fear mixed with a grim determination. Humanity had bloodied the nose of their would-be conquerors, but the war was far from over. In the following days, Zarkoni dropships pierced Earth's atmosphere, landing troops in strategic locations across the globe. The aliens, enraged by their unexpected setback, fought with renewed ferocity. But they found no easy conquest waiting for them. In the streets of New York, Tokyo, and Lagos, humans fought back with everything they had. Soldiers armed with hastily adapted weapons stood shoulder to shoulder with civilians wielding improvised arms. In the ruins of Paris, a group of resistance fighters led by former chef-turned-guerrilla leader Jacques Bouchard staged daring raids against Zarkoni patrols. Their knowledge of the city's ancient catacombs proved invaluable, allowing them to strike and disappear like ghosts. Meanwhile, in the Brazilian Amazon, indigenous tribes joined forces with stranded military units, using their intimate knowledge of the rainforest to wage a brutal guerrilla war against the invaders. The Zarkoni, used to the sterile environments of their ships, found themselves at a severe disadvantage in Earth's varied and often hostile terrains. But it was in the realm of cyber warfare that humanity truly shone. A global network of hackers, led by the enigmatic figure known only as Ghost, launched relentless attacks against Zarkoni systems. The aliens, despite their advanced technology, had never encountered anything like the chaotic, ever-evolving nature of human digital warfare. As the ground war raged, Captain Sarah Chen and the remains of Earth's fleet played a deadly game of cat and mouse with the Zarkoni ships in orbit. The Defiant and its sister ships used hit-and-run tactics, striking vulnerable targets before disappearing into the debris fields that now orbited the planet. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, working from a hidden bunker, made a breakthrough in understanding Zarkoni biology. Their hive mind, she explained to military leaders, it's both their greatest strength and their greatest weakness. If we can disrupt it, we might be able to throw their entire force into disarray. With this knowledge, a daring plan was formed. A small team of elite soldiers would need to infiltrate the Zarkoni mothership, a suicide mission by any measure, but one that could turn the tide of the war. As preparations for this mission began, Sarah found herself reflecting on how far humanity had come. In the face of annihilation, humans had not only survived, but had pushed back against an enemy that by all rights should have crushed them. We've always been at our best with our backs against the wall, she mused to her XO. The Zarkoni thought they were punishing us, but they've only made us stronger. As Earth entered the second month of the invasion, the planet was scared and battered, but unbroken. In fields and factories, in labs and living rooms, humans worked tirelessly to support the war effort. The Zarkoni had wanted to wipe out an insignificant species. Instead, they had forged humanity into a united, indomitable force. The stage was set for a final, desperate gambit. As the chosen team prepared for their mission to infiltrate the Zarkoni mothership, Sarah knew that the fate of humanity would rest on their shoulders. But looking at the determination in their eyes, She felt a surge of hope. The Zarkoni had made a terrible mistake in underestimating humanity, and now they were about to learn the full cost of their error. The infiltration. The sleek stealth shuttle cut silently through the debris-filled orbit of Earth, its adaptive camouflage rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Inside, a team of 6 elite soldiers sat in tense silence, each lost in their own thoughts as they approached the looming bulk of the Zarkoni mothership. Major Alexei Volkov, the team leader, did one last equipment check. His squad was a testament to Earth's unity in the face of invasion. A Russian, an American, a Nigerian, a Chinese, an Indian, and a Brazilian, all brought together by humanity's fight for survival. "Remember," Alexei said, his voice low and steady, "our primary objective is to reach the central neural hub and deploy Dr. Rodriguez's virus. Everything else is secondary." The shuttle's pilot, Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, called back from the cockpit, "We're approaching the designated entry point. Prepare for docking." With a skill born of countless simulations, Yuki maneuvered the shuttle towards a maintenance hatch on the underside of the massive alien vessel. The team held their breath as the shuttle made contact, the sound of metal on metal muffled by the vacuum of space. "Docking successful," Yuki reported. "Good luck in there." One by one, the team entered the airlock, their specialized suits protecting them from the alien atmosphere. Sergeant Maria dos Santos, the team's tech expert, worked quickly to bypass the hatch's security systems. With a hiss, the inner door slid open, revealing the alien interior of the Zarkoni ship. Bioluminescent corridors stretched out before them, pulsing with an eerie, otherworldly light. "Move out," Alexei ordered. "And remember, we're on the clock." The fleet can only keep the Zarkoni distracted for so long. The team advanced cautiously, their weapons at the ready. The ship's interior was a maze of organic-looking passageways, more reminiscent of veins in a living organism than corridors in a spacecraft. As they moved deeper into the ship, they encountered their first Zarkoni patrol. The alien creatures, with their multitude of eyes and writhing tentacles, were even more terrifying up close. "Engage only if necessary," Alexei whispered. "We can't afford to alert the entire ship." Using their adaptive camouflage and advanced stealth training, the team managed to avoid detection, slipping past the patrol like ghosts. However, their luck couldn't hold forever. As they approached a junction, a lone Zarkoni rounded the corner, coming face to face with the human intruders. Before the alien could raise an alarm, Corporal Lai Wei, the team's close-quarters combat specialist, sprang into action. With lightning speed, he closed the distance and engaged the Zarkoni in hand-to-tentacle combat. The alien's strength was formidable, its numerous limbs lashing out with deadly precision. But Lai's years of training in various martial arts served him well. He dodged and weaved, using the Zarkoni's own momentum against it. With a final decisive move, Lai managed to incapacitate the alien. The team quickly secured the unconscious Zarkoni, ensuring it couldn't alert others. "Impressive work, Corporal," Alexei nodded, a hint of admiration in his voice. As they continued their journey towards the neural hub, the team encountered more resistance. Each confrontation was a testament to human adaptability and teamwork. Lieutenant Amina Okafor's marksmanship proved invaluable in taking out distant threats, while Private Raj Patel's expertise in explosives helped them bypass heavily fortified areas. Finally, after what felt like hours of tense navigation through the alien vessel, they reached the entrance to the central neural hub. The massive door pulsed with energy, its surface covered in intricate, shifting patterns. "This is it," Maria said, her voice filled with a mix of awe and determination. "Once we're through here, we'll be able to upload the virus directly into their hive mind." As Maria worked to bypass the door's complex security measures, the rest of the team took up defensive positions. The Zarkoni, now fully aware of the intruders, were converging on their location. "We've got incoming," Amina called out, her enhanced vision picking up multiple hostiles approaching from all directions. The air filled with the sound of energy weapons as the team engaged the oncoming Zarkoni forces. The narrow corridor became a killing ground, with both sides taking heavy fire. "Maria, how much longer?" Alexei shouted over the din of battle. "Almost there," she replied, her fingers flying over her holo interface. "Just a few more seconds." Suddenly, with a deep rumble, the massive door began to slide open. "We're in," Maria exclaimed. "Everyone, fall back to the hub," Alexei ordered. The team retreated into the neural hub, laying down suppressing fire as they went. As soon as the last soldier was through, Maria sealed the door behind them. The neural hub was unlike anything they had ever seen. A vast, spherical chamber stretched out before them, its walls lined with pulsating organic circuitry. At the center floated a massive, brain-like structure, tendrils of energy connecting it to various points around the room. "That must be the core of their hive mind," Maria said, her voice filled with awe. "If we can upload the virus there, it should spread to every Zarkoni connected to the network." As Maria began the process of uploading the virus, the rest of the team prepared for their last stand. The sealed door wouldn't hold the Zarkoni back for long. "Whatever happens," Alexei said, looking each of his team members in the eye, "it's been an honor serving with you." "For Earth, for Earth," the team echoed, their voices filled with determination. As the upload bar on Maria's device inched towards completion, the door to the neural hub began to buckle under the Zarkoni assault. The team took up defensive positions, ready to sell their lives dearly to ensure the mission's success. With a deafening screech of tearing metal, the door finally gave way. Zarkoni forces poured into the chamber, their alien weapons blazing. The human team fought with everything they had, their desperation lending them strength. Lai engaged multiple opponents in close combat, his movements a blur. Amina's shots found their marks with uncanny accuracy, while Raj's well-placed explosives kept the aliens at bay. Just as it seemed the team would be overwhelmed, Maria's device emitted a high-pitched beep. "Upload complete," she shouted triumphantly. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with an otherworldly scream. The brain-like structure at the center convulsed, tendrils of energy lashing out wildly. The Zarkoni attackers stumbled, their movements becoming erratic and uncoordinated. "It's working," Alexei yelled over the chaos. "The virus is disrupting their hive mind." As the Zarkoni forces fell into disarray, the human team seized their chance. Fighting their way out of the neural hub, they began their perilous journey back to their shuttle. The once orderly Zarkoni ship had descended into chaos. Aliens stumbled about aimlessly, their hive mind connections severed. Some even turned on each other, adding to the confusion. Despite their exhaustion and injuries, the team pushed on, driven by the knowledge that their mission could turn the tide of the entire war. As they finally reached their shuttle and disengaged from the mothership, Alexei allowed himself a small smile. "Mission accomplished," he said, his voice filled with pride and relief. "Let's go home." As the shuttle sped away from the crippled Zarkoni mothership, the team knew that the real battle was just beginning. But for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had a fighting chance. The Zarkoni had learned a harsh lesson. Underestimating humans was a mistake they would not live to repeat. The turning point. As the stealth shuttle carrying Major Alexei Volkov and his team docked with the UES Defiant, the bridge erupted in cheers. Captain Sarah Chen allowed herself a moment of relief before turning her attention back to the tactical display. "Status report," she barked, her eyes scanning the holographic battlefield. Lieutenant Kovacs responded quickly. "The Zarkoni fleet is in disarray, Captain. Their ships are moving erratically, and their attack patterns have broken down completely." Sarah nodded grimly. The infiltration team's mission had been a success, but the war was far from over. "Broadcast to all Earth forces," she ordered. "This is our chance. Hit them with everything we've got." Across the solar system, The remnants of humanity's fleet sprang into action. Ships that had been hiding in the shadows of planets and asteroids now emerge, weapons blazing. On Earth's surface, resistance fighters and military units launched coordinated attacks on confused Zarkoni ground forces. In low Earth orbit, the massive Zarkoni mothership drifted aimlessly, its crew incapacitated by the virus that had disrupted their hive mind. Sarah knew this was their best chance to end the war decisively. All ships, focus fire on the mothership's main reactor, she commanded. Let's finish this. The human fleet converged on the alien vessel, unleashing a barrage of weaponry that would have been suicide just hours earlier. Now, with the Zarkoni unable to coordinate their defenses, the attacks found their mark. Explosions blossomed across the surface of the mothership as critical systems failed. Sarah watched with grim satisfaction as the behemoth that had threatened Earth's very existence began to break apart. But the Zarkoni, even in their weakened state, were far from defeated. A particularly large fragment of the mothership, still partially functional, began a collision course with Earth. They're going to crash it into the planet, Kovacs exclaimed, horror evident in her voice. Sarah's mind raced. The fragment was too large for their weapons to destroy completely, and any attempt to do so might simply break it into more dangerous pieces. They needed a way to deflect it, and fast. Suddenly, a calm voice cut through the chaos on the bridge. "Captain, I have an idea." It was Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who had been monitoring the battle from her lab on the Defiant. "We can use the Zarkoni's own technology against them," Elena explained quickly. "Their ships use a form of gravitational manipulation for propulsion. If we can overload that system on the fragment, we might be able to push it away from Earth." Sarah nodded, understanding dawning. "But we'd need to get someone on board to do that." "I'll go," came a voice from the back of the bridge. Sarah turned to see Major Alexei Volkov, still in his battle-worn infiltration suit. "My team and I know our way around their ships now. We can do this." Sarah met Alexei's determined gaze and made her decision. "Approved. But you're taking a volunteer team of engineers with you. We've got one shot at this." Within minutes, a specially equipped shuttle was racing towards the plummeting fragment of the Zarkoni mothership. Alexei, along with 2 members of his original team and 3 of the Defiant's top engineers, braced themselves for impact as they approached the chaotic surface of the alien vessel. The shuttle pilot, displaying incredible skill, managed to land in a partially intact hangar. As soon as they touched down, the team sprang into action. "This way," Alexei shouted, leading them through the familiar organic-looking corridors. "The propulsion control should be near the center of the fragment." As they ran, they encountered pockets of surviving Zarkoni. Some were catatonic, overwhelmed by the loss of their hive-mind connection. Others, driven by base instincts, attacked ferociously. The team fought their way through, time ticking away with each step. Finally, they reached the propulsion control room. The engineers immediately set to work, their hands flying over alien controls as they attempted to overload the system. "We've almost got it," one of the engineers called out. "But the system's fighting us. Someone needs to manually hold the override." Alexei looked at his team, then at the rapidly approaching Earth visible through a breach in the hull. He made his decision in an instant. "Get to the shuttle," he ordered. "I'll hold the override." His team protested, but Alexei was firm. "That's an order. Earth needs you. Now go." With heavy hearts, the team retreated to the shuttle. As they took off, they saw Alexei through the view screen, his hands gripping the alien controls as energy surged around him. From the bridge of the Defiant, Sarah watched with bated breath as the fragment began to shift its trajectory. Slowly at first, then with increasing speed, it veered away from Earth, pushing out towards deep space. As cheers erupted on the bridge, Sarah allowed herself a moment of sadness for the sacrifice that had made this victory possible. In the days that followed, the tide of the war turned decisively. Without their hive mind to coordinate them, the remaining Zarkoni forces were quickly overwhelmed. On Earth's surface, Humans emerged from hiding to reclaim their planet, working together to rebuild what had been destroyed. In orbit, the debris of the Zarkani fleet served as a grim reminder of the cost of the war. But it also represented something else, proof that humanity, when united, could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. As Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Defiant, looking down at the blue marble of Earth, she reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had been tested as never before, and had emerged stronger for it. The galaxy now knew. Underestimate humans at your peril, for when pushed to the brink, there was nothing they couldn't accomplish. The war was over, but humanity's journey to the stars was just beginning. And this time, they were ready for whatever the universe might throw at them. The aftermath. 5 years after the Zarkoni invasion, Earth was a changed world. The scars of war were still visible in the rebuilt cities that now incorporated alien technology, in the orbital defense platforms that dotted the sky, and in the eyes of those who had lived through the conflict. But there was also a new sense of purpose, a unity that had been forged in the crucible of near extinction. Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood before the United Earth Council in the newly constructed Global Unity building in Geneva. The chamber was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth, as well as a few non-human faces, allies who had come to humanity's aid in the darkest hours of the war. Distinguished representatives, Sarah began, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. 5 years ago, we faced annihilation. Today, we stand not just as survivors, but as a species poised to take its place among the stars. She gestured to the holographic display behind her, showing a map of known space. The defeat of the Zarkoni has reshaped the balance of power in our galactic neighborhood. Many races that once saw us as primitive now seek alliances. Others watch us warily, unsure of what to make of the species that defeated one of the most powerful empires in the sector. The display zoomed in on a distant star system. But our greatest challenge and opportunity lies here, the former Zarkani homeworld. A murmur ran through the assembled delegates. The fate of the Zarkoni had been a topic of heated debate since the end of the war. The virus that disrupted their hive mind did more than win us the war, Sarah continued. It fundamentally altered Zarkoni society. Without the collective consciousness that once guided their every action, they'd been struggling to rebuild. Some have even reached out to us for help. She paused, letting the implications sink in. We have a choice to make. Do we turn our backs on a former enemy, or do we extend a hand in peace, showing the galaxy that humanity's strength lies not just in our ability to win wars, but in our capacity for compassion? The chamber erupted in discussion. Sarah stepped back, allowing the delegates to debate. As she did, her eyes met those of Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now the head of Earth's Xenoscience Division. Elena stood and addressed the council. The Zarkoni may have been our enemies, but they're also a treasure trove of scientific knowledge. Their biotechnology alone is centuries ahead of ours. With their help, we could solve problems that have plagued humanity for millennia. Disease, hunger, even aging itself. The debate raged for hours. There were those who argued for isolation, for focusing on fortifying Earth against future threats. Others pushed for aggressive expansion, using recovered Zarkoni technology to carve out a human empire. In the end, it was a survivor of the London Resistance, a schoolteacher named Emily Thorne, whose words swayed the council. We didn't win this war just to become the very thing we fought against, she said, her voice quiet but filled with conviction. We won because we held on to our humanity, even in the darkest moments. If we turn our backs on that now, then the Zarkoni might as well have won. The vote was close, but in the end, the council approved a mission of peace and scientific exchange to the Zarkoni homeworld. Months later, Sarah found herself standing on the bridge of the UES Hope, Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Beside her stood a team of Earth's brightest scientists, diplomats, and a small contingent of military personnel, including some veterans of the war. As the ship prepared to make its first faster-than-light jump, Sarah thought back to that fateful day on Helios Station, when the Zarkoni first appeared. How far they had come since then. "Admiral," her XO called, "we're ready for the jump." Sarah nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Take us to the stars, Commander. The next chapter of human history begins now." As the Hope leaped into FTL, leaving the solar system behind, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and dangers they could scarcely imagine. But she was confident that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them together. The war had taught them the cost of division, the strength found in unity, and the power of the indomitable human spirit. Now they carried those lessons with them into the cosmic ocean. On Earth, people gathered in homes and public squares to watch the Hope's departure. Children looked up at the stars with new eyes, dreaming not just of visiting distant worlds, but of the day when humans from Earth might call those worlds home. In universities and research labs, scientists pored over recovered Zarkoni technology, making breakthroughs that promised to revolutionize every field from medicine to energy production. The scars of war were being transformed into the foundations of a brighter future. And in a small, out-of-the-way bar in Moscow, a group of veterans raised their glasses in a silent toast. They drank to absent friends, to the sacrifices made, and to the hope that their children would know a universe of peace. As the Hope vanished into the depths of space, humanity stood at the threshold of a new era. They had been forged in the fire of an alien invasion, tempered by adversity, and emerged stronger than ever before. The message to the galaxy was clear: underestimate humans at your own risk. For when the chips are down, when the odds seem insurmountable, that's when humanity truly shines. In the face of annihilation, they had not only survived but thrived. And now, united and unbowed, they were ready to take their place among the stars. The Zarkoni had sought to wipe out an insignificant species. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. As the Hope carried the best of humanity towards an uncertain future, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. This is what happens when you mess with humans. Not just survival, not just victory, but a transformation that ripples across the cosmos. The story of humanity's great leap into the galactic community had only just begun, and the universe waited with bated breath to see what these remarkable creatures would do next.